Hey, welcome back. Today I'm sitting down with a global real estate strategist who has mastered the purchase process in more than 20 countries, and she's traveled to 38 gathering insights. If you've ever thought about expanding your business beyond borders, this interview will show you how it's done. My guest today is Nathaly Salas, founder of Unicorn Properties and international real estate leader with eXp Realty. Nathaly splits her time between Chicago and the Riviera Maya, Mexico, and has a hands-on experience with short and long-term rentals, Airbnbs, fix and flips, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And she's the creator of the International Real Estate Academy. And she does the real estate tours worldwide, helping agents and investors expand into new countries without the usual red tape. And her mission here is to empower the people to design a life of freedom through real estate, anchored in lifestyle, health, and purpose, and not bounded to one location. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you, Meg. I'm excited to be here.
So let's jump into it. You've mastered the purchase process in more than 20 countries and traveled to 38, gathering market insights. What first sparked your passion for global real estate, and how did that evolve into Unicorn Properties?
So I think as I shared before with you, like I designed my life, the life I wanted to live, and then I kind of find how to make money with that.
Yes.
That was kind of like my reverse engineering and my hack. But for many years, I couldn't travel too much. I was caring for my mom for the last 15 years. She had a stroke and she couldn't walk after that when she was 49. So ever since then, my sister and I were providing for her. So traveling wasn't like something that it was in my radar. I was burnt out. I had to like make ends meet, make sure my mom is okay. And that's why when now I see my life is like what I visualized back then, when I was at home working 3 jobs. And I was like, well, how can I live now that my mom is cared for? She's good. Now we moved her to Mexico. And that was kind of like the pivot time when I was thinking about, what's life like in Chicago, where I'm based the last 20 years, and what I would like to be in ideal case scenario. So then that's how everything became together. And it started with the buying process in Mexico when we were there, thinking about maybe having a second home there, just because of it was less expensive to pay a caregiver over there than here. And here, if your caregiver is like 35,000 a year, you have to at least make 3 times that to make, pay the bills and everything else. Like anybody who has kids too, if you have a nanny, you have to account for that amount and then make at least 3 times more than that so you can have some freedom of time. So my career started with that, like the frustration of how can we maybe live remotely. With the pandemic, many people were,
Right.
oh, let me think about my life now. Is this what really I want to do, where I want to live? And I think I was in that mix of like, okay, what's next? What's next? I was in corporate for many years since I finished my career. I mean, I started my career after school, and then I was always in technology and everything in the background. So technology is my strength, and I took that to real estate, and that's what I like to do now. So create enough content for the front end, for the middle funnels, and then for the back end referrals. So our business runs through referrals, the network, and the community. And now, kind of, this is where we are right now. And I get to travel to many places, but at the same time working because, I think if it's intentional, you can always do both.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you're in the right spot for sure to be able to do that. I love that you've created something different than what a lot of other agents do. So you say that you split your time between Chicago and the Riviera Maya, and you've built a hands-on experience with rentals, Airbnbs, and flips. So how do you balance living globally while still running a high-level real estate business?
So when I started with EXP, my main reason was I wanted to international. So of course I had to have all my shit together in Chicago before I can travel, right? So I managed having my Airbnbs are now with a property manager in Chicago. I sold some of my rentals because I wanted to have a little cash to invest more in Mexico. So I was trying to balance two countries, at least for myself, as I'm taking myself as an own case study.
Right.
So whatever I had in Chicago, I kind of automated in a way that took less time, but still was producing money. Maybe I pay more property management fees, but at the same time, I don't have to worry too much of flying because of an emergency, something happened or a toilet broke.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like my setup. And I wanted to make sure that the US side of things were taken care of. And then with my team, my group here, we don't have a team, it's more like an organization. With EXP, I was able to expand to this market as well, and having some agents here that if I send leads to, or somebody asks me, or are you working in the Chicago market, I can still send that referral toward agents, whether in my downline or within EXP or the Wolfpack as well. And in Mexico, I can focus on, hey, if I can do Mexico sales, I love for sure doing those tours much better because, we go to different places, we go to the beach, we show them, beach clubs, and we're talking about taking a boat and going to the luxury homes just with a boat so you can get off to the water. So it's different. Like I feel like after being there, now I'm spoiled. Now I'm like, I don't know if I can sell real estate in Chicago, but it's fun.
That's awesome. I love it. And so you created the International Real Estate Academy and RETW, which is Real Estate Tours Worldwide. How do those platforms serve agents and investors looking to expand beyond their home markets?
So for sure, the school academy, I modeled that from Mike Sherrod, because I think it was very important to have something of value that you can give to people. And I have my content all over YouTube, but it's different to having YouTube and be like, okay, good luck finding it,
Yeah.
you can search the whole channel. So school was kind of like a repository for a course that I created. It's about 4 to 5 hours of content purely on how to do an international transaction, what to be aware of, what to do, what not to do, how to tap into the community, whether with EXP or out of EXP, what to be mindful and careful for, because as you know, many countries outside of the US don't have an MLS, we don't have enough systems in place, so it's very risky if you take a client and you don't know what you're doing in the other side. So that was for agents, and then we run weekly calls through that. And the real estate tours was kind of like client facing, because you can build and create teams and have a downline and everything. But at least to me, it was more important to create some volume of leads so our agents locally can also close transactions, produce, because maybe they don't have the visibility that they will have, otherwise if we just bring everybody together and go on a tour. And those tours are like open houses, but internationally. And you go to more than one place and you get to see many things, and you get to visit the communities, the neighborhoods, the gated communities, the golf communities in person, and see if that's something you like, that if you can visualize yourself there, or maybe for the future. So that's kind of like for the buyer side of the world, but we have a lot of agents joining as well to learn the process. So we have the practice, you can learn at home from online, from your chair at home, and you can have the experience that you can fly to different places around the world throughout the year and experiment the theory. So it's not only stays in the book, but also you can get to see it.
That's just so neat. 'Cause like I said, I don't think there's a whole lot of people doing there are people out there obviously looking for international properties, but having like a whole system set up to be able to serve that kind of client, or even agents who might want to try it. I think that's so great. And you definitely, I don't know of anybody else doing it, and you do such a great job of it. So it's exciting. Yeah, it's so neat. It's such a different perspective than regular real estate, especially within the States. So while you're expanding into other countries, there's often like red tape and bureaucracy. So how do you help agents and investors simplify the process? And how has EXP and the Wolfpack supported you in removing the barriers to international growth?
So my main intention at the beginning was like, I want to join a company that has international. So that was my number one. And EXP was the perfect fit, at least for me and for what I wanted to do down the line. EXP now is in 27 countries, about to have 6 more added to the list. So I feel like they're doing the heavy lifting of expansion. I don't want to do that on my own. Mine if I have to do it, but if I don't have to, I'll just tag along and then join as they're opening the countries. Opening a country is not easy, and it takes a lot of research. How do you know which country? So EXP does all the research and all the legwork to get to the country, the legalities, the bank accounts, and all that. All we have to go and do is go there once it's open and operate it, expand it, promote it. So I think sometimes we don't think about how we spend our time. So if you ask me, how do you want to spend your time? I love real estate tours. So EXP gives me the platform on the back end, so I don't have to build it again or from scratch. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I just jump on something that is already working, and it's a fast train to wherever you want to go. So many people don't see it that way because probably they don't use the tools, or they don't understand it, or they don't know because they're focused mostly locally, and that's perfectly fine. But if you're curious to expand from there, even into other states in the US, there are many boutique brokerages that are very local to wherever they are, specialized, but then they miss out on all the opportunities out in the rest of the states in the US, in Canada, and of course in the world, because if you're only a small brokerage, you can only cater to that space. And again, that's nothing wrong with that, but to me, I was like, I want to be like a butterfly. Can I be everywhere and be everywhere? Wherever I feel, I want to go. My main driver was like, can I just not spend one more winter in Chicago? That's my goal. And for the last 4 years, I haven't had to. So when you have to be in one place, it kind of like, it's different unless you love it. And of course, many people love Chicago, but in the winters, if I can have a little break, absolutely. So I do spend my time summers in Chicago and winters in Mexico because of the weather. But then summer in Mexico gets too hot, so then I come back to Chicago or go to Europe. And that's how I travel. I plan my trips based on the weather. So I literally follow the sun year round.
I love
I can adjust that. Or tours as well, because we don't want to take people on a tour when it's 100-degree weather and they're going to be burning and it's going to be miserable. Or you want to take somebody on a tour when it's too cold or snowy and people can slip and fall. So there's, I think, perfect timing for everything around the world. We have different weathers throughout the year that we can go and take people to. So it's very unique in a way that we can make our own schedule. It's our group, we just organize them, we take suggestions, we take some feedback, we check some markets, the ones that are happening, they already have kind of like some traffic going that way, Mexico, Portugal, Dominican Republic, for example. And the other markets that are slower, maybe we keep them for later as they're evolving. But yeah, we're going to be planning the trips around EXP conferences as well.
There's a few coming up this next year for sure.
Yeah, so whoever goes to that, the conference in South Africa in February, they want to do a tour connected to that. So you can have 2 for 1, and you do one trip, which is far away. South Africa is a few hours.
Yeah.
But then you can go for the understanding of the market, learning more about it. I'm going to be learning myself. It's not like I don't know everything, but we connect with the local expert and we all learn. So it's kind of like a good experience to share knowledge, education, do's and don'ts, best practices. And then at that point, you just go home well-versed about that specific market that you just visited that you just didn't know otherwise. And ChatGPT can give you a brief description, but it's different than living it, touching it, feeling it, seeing it. It's such a good experience for me. And then it gives you like that camaraderie with the rest of their peers. If agents are coming, we have good trips also for agent attraction. Not everybody has to be from EXP, and then people can see how we work, the systems we use, how we leverage our community, how we support the community locally with the leads that we bring, and that just helps the whole ecosystem. So then this is great for agents that want to bring another agent along. Hey, just come check it out. And we had a similar case in Portugal when we did the tour there. And one of the agents that was from a boutique brokerage in Florida, she ended up joining EXP because she loved the tour and she loved the group. So I mean, we're like, it's all good people just trying to have fun and then being productive.
I think it's great too that you touched on like you like South Africa, for example, you're going to go and learn too. So it's like everybody gets to learn alongside each other and get the extra support. But it's nice I think that's important because a lot of times you have people who are just coaching certain things or educating, and then they seem like they know it all. But I love that you learn along with your community. So I think that's amazing. And I know, so you work with investors, other agents and families, and you've guided them through cross-border transactions with clarity and compliance. But what are some of the biggest mistakes that people do make when they're entering a new market, and how should they avoid those?
So when you step out of the US, is a wild, wild west, almost everywhere you go. Not necessarily like, even Italy, we're like, there's still, you have to go through a lot of red tape for that. And you have to be super mindful who you work with, because you can find somebody in Google, you can find somebody in social media, and that's good. And that's a good starting point to research who you work with. But at the same time, you need to see the credentials and if they have done transactions, if they own property there, because sometimes people can talk about the theory of doing things. And I'm always bringing back to, let's go back to the real stuff, not only the book. So you can learn on a book, but there's nothing like practicing it. So it's very important that they work with the right professional, for sure, and they research the inventory as well, because at least in Mexico is my case study, because that's kind of the country I know the most about. And we've been there for 4 years, so I can talk about this from left to right. This happened to me and I love it. But some clients that go and don't ask the right questions, or they work with the first person that they meet, maybe might encounter some issues down the line. I always ask, at least ask the same question to 3 different people, and if you get, a similar answer, then you're closer to the truth. But make sure you just keep asking the same question over and over again, because some people want to tell you different perspectives of what it's like to be there and what it's like to buy there. So in 2021, there was a boom everywhere for real estate. There was a boom too in Mexico, in the Riviera Maya, and there was a boom in Tulum now. But that was kind of like a bubble. But if an agent that is there locally that wants to sell you the product that they have and nothing else, they're going to be a bit biased on what you would like to buy, right? If you tell me, hey, I want Tulum, I'm like, I'll take you to Tulum, but first let me share with you the comparables in the area. So know that's a very high marketing price, and it's not always worth the money. So the education on that process, if clients are willing to learn and listen, they'll be able to understand, the comparables. It's just numbers. So we're not putting our opinion on it. It's more like, this is that, and this is what you get for that. And they're like, oh, I didn't know it was good, but my friend bought here. But and then there's a lot of stories that, meaning on the occupancy rate, rental income, and all these things when it comes to the investment properties, that the local realtor might not tell you.
Right.
Because they're like, oh no, you're here, you're buying something that I already have on my list of inventory. So for us, it's very transparent. It's like, this is kind of like where it is in this location and that location. You select whatever you want. You can still buy this location, but just so you know, I think the price you might be overpaying by 20% or 25%. So just be aware of that when you want to sell, because you're not going to be, making up your money, or you might be losing money. So that honesty to me is super important, because I see locally the agents, when they only work one market, we just want to sell that market, right? Because that's all we have to offer. So having that connection with global knowledge and global research is very helpful to just ask those questions and ask about more than one market, what you are there. They're nearby, so you can get the best, buy for the money that you have, and you will not be regretting later that either you're losing money, you pick the wrong location, or you work with the wrong professional, because that can be very detrimental.
That makes total sense. And it's great that, somebody comes to you that they have that extra support. So that's good to know. Lifestyle and purpose are central to your mission. So helping people design freedom through real estate is also really important. What routines, values, or mindset shifts help you live that out while scaling your business? How can you share with others how you do that?
First, I think most people need to lose the fear, because I think fear is a factor that stops us from doing anything or moving anywhere or investigating anything beyond what we already know. I think my framework is more like, just try everything at least once, and then you see if you like it. Of course, don't test too much with your money, because you might lose it, but at least experiencing, the beach, the location, travel, experiment, have conversations, have these one-on-one calls that you can talk to another person somewhere else, talk to another agent out there that is like, hey, I'm curious about your market in Lisbon. How does it work over there? And then having that conversation helps you reduce your fear level of that location, let's say. So to me, it's super important just keeping an adventurous mindset, lose your fear, because there's a lot of propaganda out there in the world that, is designed to keep you in fear. And then also network with everybody else, because the more you ask questions, I think the more you're going to get answers back, get curious, you're going to meet more people outside of that, comfort zone. And to me, it has been that mindset of like, just stay curious, stay adventurous. Literally, if somebody invites me somewhere, anywhere in the world, if it fits in my calendar, I'm going. And if I have something related, to do over there, and definitely I've been able to do that, because I need to set up first things financially at home, with my team and my organization, for me to have some freedom of time and financially to go and do all these activities that can also generate income, but down the line. So international real estate is not like a quick game that, hey, I'm moving there tomorrow. It's more like, hey, I might move there in 2 years.
Right.
So it's a planning, a follow up. You need to have your CRM dial in. Otherwise, you'll be like, well, who was that person that I talked to a year ago? They said, this year, but I forget their last name or something. So you have to have these systems in place to make sure that your database is very, is tight. And also your referral partners remember you, because otherwise you can be doing all the noise in your, little bubble and doesn't make it to the other side of anywhere. And then it's just your people, the few people that follow you that probably have already bought, or they're already neighbors. So I think going outside of that, reach is very important. So staying top of mind is super important, at least for us. So that's why you're going to see a lot of content from us, like all day, every day, from every single channel on the education piece, because we always try to provide interviews or education on the how-to or the why yes, the why not best practices. That way people can go and search. They can see us always on this, talking about the same thing. We always talk about benefits, risks, opportunities on all these markets that are, outside of the US right now. And there's a lot of good opportunities out there.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think it's great that you educate people on how to be careful, like stay safe. And I think it's great that you're a resource to go to, kind of like a one-stop shop to be able to answer questions or even like get them a guidance that they might be looking for. And so for agents who want to start thinking globally like you do, but they may feel overwhelmed, what's the first step they should take to explore the opportunities that are abroad?
To me, everything kind of starts with education. We have a weekly calls through our school community. Anybody can join, any agent from any agency, and then join the weekly calls that are free. And the weekly calls are meant to have a local expert showcase their market. And we have 2 countries showcase per month, meaning it's a weekly call, but 2 countries per month. And the reason for that is that you cannot cover everything in one call, and we try to keep it at an hour. So the first part of the call is, what is the market like, locations, good neighborhoods that you might be thinking about as an expat, because all our target market is our expats from the US going somewhere else. What you need to be mindful for immigrations, your taxes, if you have rental income, where do you declare it? If you have if you want to have a golden visa with real estate, what do you need to do and what you need to do first? Because there's some process that you can get from the immigration side of things through real estate. So there's some benefits. And those little things you need to maybe understand before you even guide your client or you buy yourself. And the second part of the showcase that we call it is the country sharing their comparables. So the agent locally or more than one, sometimes we have like 10 or 15 agents putting all their listings in this presentation because we don't have an MLS. And I wish we had a ChatGPT that you push the button, you get a CMA back, and you're like, hey, this is awesome. But no, you have to like do a manual. Hey, do you find that picture of that that house? And then it's very like Canva, copy paste. Like we have to put everything together. So what's something that in the US will take 2 minutes for us takes us 8 hours. So then we need to be like, and I sit with them to just get the framework of what they need to present, so the other side of the world understands what they're trying to showcase. Because when you're locally based, sometimes you don't think of how your international buyer might buy. So we kind of cater it to that language and explanation and the whole picture. So the other person in 2 sessions can get the information that they need by country. So you get a crash course in 2 days, in 2 weeks. And then any agent can learn that, or any investor can learn that, so they can see if that's something for them. We break it down all the way to US dollars and price per square foot. So then they can actually get to, to the numbers they want to see. Because if I say to you rupees, and in India they have different numbers of how they say the numbers, and you will be, I'm lost myself. And if I don't give it to you in square feet, probably square meters, you'll be like, how much is a square meter? The rest of the world square meters. So we have to do a lot of adjusting to make sure that our buyers in the US understand, what it is like. So we can compare apples to apples. And at that point, you can get more idea on what you might buy or why.
It's amazing. You do a lot of work, and I'm sure your clients and even other agents really appreciate that. So this is our last question. It's our bonus question. Looking ahead, what is your vision for Unicorn Properties, the Academy, and RETW, and how can agents plug into your global movement with you, EXP, and the Wolfpack?
For sure. So my goal, I think, is right now to have at least 2 agents in every country that EXP is in. I mean, that's a small goal. It's only 27 countries, and we can make sure we can get everywhere. And the reason I ask, and I think my goal is to have access to the CRM and the database for each country. Because unless you have an agent that you can work with to enter that market, it's hard to investigate it. Of course, you can work with other agents, but it's not like they're going to give you their password to their CRM and stuff. But that's what helps me understand more of the market and see what systems they have, so we can expand that way and we can attract more agents in that country. So that's a goal for expansion. And of course, grow our client base in the US through our agents. And the agents, because they have their own database of clients, they can send them to the tours, and you can also make money out of those referrals. So we tag all the clients with who send them, which realtors send them, and we'll make sure if they ever close here now or later in 2 years, we still send the money to Meg because she sent this client 2 years ago. Okay. So we track that a lot. So for sure, increase our sales to make sure that there's more knowledge out there, less fear, more sales, and grow our base in the US too for agents to make sure that we can educate and impact more people in the real estate space to think outside the box, because there's a lot of opportunities out there that we don't explore out of lack of knowledge or out of fear. But by educating and providing this information, more people get, you plant the seed of curiosity, and you're like, maybe one day, now, because, my kids are little, but maybe one day. Yeah. That to us is everything. And of course, with the real estate tours, getting more people, we keep it very low on the ticket price, so more people can come. And then it's like a conference, like a seminar. It's a tax deductible trip for agents, because you're exploring other markets to grow your own markets. So that is like a back and forth knowledge. So literally, we just cover the cost, and everybody can come. And then then the connection starts. We stay connected online, regardless of whether we see each other every year. Right. Or whether we see you every week in the calls, or whenever you're ready to come back to the community. So yeah, that's kind of like where we are in hitting more countries and getting more research.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for showing us what it looks like to think bigger and build beyond the borders. Your story definitely proves that agents can create freedom, lifestyle, and purpose while scaling internationally, being able to travel and have that freedom. So for those of you watching, if you found value in this conversation, share your favorite insight in the comments, hit like and subscribe for the agent success stories that will follow. And for those of you who would like to follow Nathaly, I will have her contact information below so that you can follow along with her too. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Meg. Thanks for the opportunity.